Anybody who's been in or out of a relationship knows how hard communication can be. You say one thing, they hear something else, or you project motivations onto them or drawing out conclusions about their behavior, their body language, and now we make up this whole narrative in our head that they don't even know. And before long, there's a communication gap, and then there's a relational gap. I think we've all found ourselves in that place. So what do? Well, several years ago, I came across something Brené Brown, who's a famous author, speaker, and researcher, said about relationships that has been so incredibly helpful for me. And here's what she said. She said that if I could give men and women in relationships and leaders and parents one relational hack, I would give them these 5 words: the story I'm making up. Meaning, as I'm listening to you or attempting to listen to you, as I'm reading your body language and then mixing that up with other things that I'm feeling, I'm also telling myself a story about what's actually happening. And so for us to pause and to say to that other person, the story I'm making up is, or oftentimes I'll say it this way, the story I'm telling myself is, guys, that's honest. That's transparent and frankly vulnerable, but it can be a game changer. In fact, several months ago, Jill and I were on the porch talking to one another after work, and we had a communication gap that was turning into a relational gap. And I could feel the tension, and she could feel the tension, and so she went first, and she said, "Babe, the story I'm telling myself is, I'm not worth listening to, that you don't care about what I care about, and that your view on money is more important than mine." And as soon as I heard her say that, I thought 2 things. First, I thought, wow, that was so brave and vulnerable for her to say that. And the second thing I thought is, she's not aware of something. And honestly, this is my fault. And then I told her how sorry I was, and I said, "Babe, here's the deal. Something came up at work today that was really hurtful. And I didn't want to bring it up because I didn't want to relive it at home. And that's my fault. I should have told you about it earlier. But it's all I can think about right now in this conversation." And those 5 words she shared saved our night. Those 5 words brought us together. Those 5 words closed a communication gap. And so many times in my marriage, so many times with my sons or at work, I've used those 5 words, the story I'm making up. And those words have closed the communication gap and ultimately brought me closer together in my relationships. So next time you're beginning to sense that relational gap, a communication gap, pause. Take a deep breath, be brave, and say, the story I'm making up right now is, and share it. And yes, it's a risk, but it's a risk worth taking.